I think, therefore I am. Rene Descartes. The consciousness that says I am is not the consciousness that thinks. Jean-Paul Sartre's response to Rene Descartes. Know thyself, the oracle at Delphi. I am before I think. The Dark Oracle. Welcome to the Dark Oracle's Guide to the Multiverse. This episode is titled A Life of Stimulus and Response. Most people we encounter in the simulated reality experience we call life are living lives driven by a series of automatic reactions to stimuli. If someone insults the average person, they will react in anger, and oftentimes that insult will be enough to change their mood for the rest of the day. Alternatively, if compliments are given to the average person, most will react in joy and elation, and oftentimes that compliment will be enough to determine their mood for the rest of that day. Every unexpected occurrence is automatically interpreted by the mind as an event, which then triggers an automated response. Thus, the average person can live their entire life in a state of constant reactivity, their moods, thoughts, and emotions wholly predicated by external circumstances. The human mind, that system of automated response patterns that determines the reality experience one's consciousness perceives, is the body's own artificial intelligence, the coding for which can be found writ in the body's DNA code. The body's AI mind determines your body's persona or personality and expresses itself vocally as the thinking voice in your head. It is the internal vocal apparition that perhaps until now you largely identified with as your own thoughts, as you. Labels such as the ego, the unconscious, the lower self, the reptilian brain, these are all signposts identifying the body's AI mind. Take a look in the mirror. Pause and listen to the voice in your head. And now try to clear your mind. Try to empty your thoughts. How long can you hold the silence before the voice begins talking again? Try again. Clear your mind. Focus on your breathing. Empty your thoughts. How long before the voice begins to speak again? If you are the voice in your head, then why can't you stop it from speaking? If you wanted to stop talking verbally, you could at any point in time. So why can't you quiet the voice in your mind? It is because you are not the voice in your head. You don't control it. At least not yet. It is a pre-programmed autonomous entity, the artificial I, the false self. Upon entering into this simulation, your consciousness was uploaded into the VR experience vehicle called the human body. The brain, the body's operating system, is an organic quantum computer helmed by its very own artificial intelligence mind. The body's AI mind is largely in charge of all autonomous occurrences within the human body. It is fully automatic, complete with its own personality and pre-programmed life story experience, called in this world a, quote, destiny. And it can function fully autonomously without being inhabited by a subconscious, or rather by a subscriber's consciousness. It is an autopilot or drone mode feature. Or rather, it has its own autopilot or drone mode feature. The body's AI mind controls everything from the body's heartbeat to its thought processing. From physical, emotional, and psychological reactions to the creation, retention, and recall of memory and language, to survival drives such as thirst, hunger, sexuality, and territoriality. The AI mind is your body's central processing unit, and it has its own voice. It is the voice in your head talking to you right now, the voice distracting your consciousness from trying to absorb what it is I'm saying. That is one of its functions, by the way. The distraction from focus, the distraction from any content that threatens its supremacy. That thinking voice is akin to the Alexa of your body's iOS. You can think of it as the Siri of your body. You are presently subscribed to a fully immersive role-playing reality, wherein the majority of this reality's subscribers have chosen to fully identify with their body's personas. They've accepted the body's AI mind as their own mind. They've accepted its reactive processing as their own thoughts. This reality is called a story mode reality. Alternatively, there are other realities where subscribers choose to play consciously, as in fully aware of the nature of their reality. While the bodies in those realities also come with a pre-programmed AI mind, subscribers there can easily override and fully control their AI mind. Those realities are called free play mode realities. You can think of each reality as the difference between playing Tomb Raider and completely immersing your psyche in the gameplay to the point where you begin to believe that you are a Tomb Raider named Lara Croft and all that entails. You think of her pre-written backstory as your own memories and the gameplay as your, quote, real life, versus playing Tomb Raider fully aware of the fact that you're in your living room wearing a VR helmet and holding controllers. Depending on the culture of the reality that they find themselves in, a subscriber may also choose to toggle between free play mode and story mode realities. Some role-playing or story mode realities are extremely immersive and can be largely hostile to subscribers who break from the immersive gameplay. You are in such a server. In these such realities, subscribers who attempt to toggle from story mode to free play mode will have a very difficult time overriding the AI mind and gaining full control of the gameplay experience. Some might also face persecution, ostracization, or even forcible ejection from said reality by fully immersed subscribers and or other autonomous AI mind-controlled bodies, what you would call NPCs. Everything in this reality is programmed to keep subscribers immersed in their persona's stories, and thus toggling modes would be the equivalent of jailbreaking your body's mind. Attempting to toggle from story mode to free play mode within a highly immersive role-playing reality multiverse versus doing so in a non-role-playing free play mode server can be compared to the difference between trying to hack an iPhone versus hacking an Android. Because the consciousness of the subscribers in free play mode realities are largely at the helm, and many of said subscribers on those realities or multiverses are fully aware that the AI minds of their bodies are not who they are, those artificial minds of their bodies are thus easier to modify, override, or disable. That is a primary feature of a free play mode reality. Body vehicles with easily hackable AI minds. Meanwhile, in highly immersive role-playing realities, such as the one you have found yourself in, because the immersion is a feature of this reality, AI minds in this reality are more difficult to override. It requires a diligent effort by the subscriber to consistently dissociate their consciousness from identification with their body's AI mind. When the AI mind speaks through what you think of as your thought, a subscriber's consciousness has largely been conditioned, both within and without, to listen and accept the AI's suggestions as commands. The body's AI mind also possesses the added feature of being able to lull or hypnotize its host's consciousness back into accepting the simulation as base reality. Sometimes you might find yourself being able to break away from the suggestions of the AI mind, only to find that time has passed and you're back again listening to the thoughts as though they were your thoughts, listening to the suggestions as though they were your own. It feels almost like waking up from a waking slumber. Einstein once said that reality is a dream, albeit a persistent one, and persistent was a perfect word choice. Here's an exercise. Try to think of one thought. Perhaps what you're looking at this present moment. Hold the thought. Now, attempt to silence what you've been told are your own thoughts, what you've been told are your mind, and focus just on that one thought. How long does it take the voice in your head to restart its prattling along about a completely different and unrelated subject from the thought that you are attempting to hold? How long before the voice is asking questions like, what's for dinner, or saying, this is dumb, or asking, what will your spouse do later on? Or querying what your friend said earlier and the tone they said it in. Was it offensive? Will we have chicken? What are you going to do for Christmas? What about for New Year's? The exercise was simply to focus on one thought, to hold that one thought for as long as you possibly can, to control it. And yet, how long before you found that you were sort of emerging from a foggy sleep mode comprised of incessant thoughts, unrelated fears, wishes, regrets, unfounded hopes. If the AI mind was not a separate entity from your consciousness, then you should be easily able to stop it speaking. You should be easily able to hold one thought, to keep your mind focused on one solitary thing for however long you desire. But of course you can't, or at least not yet, and at least not without constant and persistent effort. As Jean-Paul Sartre stated, the consciousness that says, I am, is not the consciousness that thinks. If you are aware of a separate thinker, then you are not the thinker, but rather the awareness. And that awareness is you. Your consciousness.